Welcome to the program, folks. You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network. So glad to have you here. It's been a great week. It's been a week for my birthday, spending it with you guys and girls. I'm not gender specific, and it's been a news cycle that has been nuts. Anyways, I got my Coors Light and I'm ready to be here with you. It's July 2nd, 2 days before Independence Day. One of the greatest documents ever signed in Declaration of Independence. 242nd anniversary. Man! Every time I think back to that, I think of my service that I provided to this nation. And it doesn't go unnoticed by a lot of you. Doesn't go unnoticed to a new sponsor of our program. It's and if you can see, what I'm starting to do is a little video that I'm going to put out Monday, a couple hours before the show comes. It's a plaque that my friend made me. Beal's Custom Woodworking and Laser Engraving. And it has the Navy seal on it. It has my name, my job, or MOS. We called him rate in the Navy. Operations Specialist, 3rd Class Petty Officer, 2004 to 2008, and served honorably. And I'm going to post some pictures up on the Common Sense page. But, man, he's a brand new sponsor of the program. He wanted me to share this with you all. I mean, this is fantastic. If you're in the military or know someone, these are just wonderful. Reach out to me via social media on the Common Sense page or however, and I can get you hooked up with Brandon over at the Woodworking and Engraving. I mean, it's just wonderful. So let's start with Wednesday of last week. June 27th, the Supreme Court, I mean, it's been a week of just Supreme Court, protest, because that's what we're going to cover tonight. We got the Janus, which I think everybody is missing, is the absolute most important case that the Supreme Court heard this cycle. I also have a montage that I created that you folks are going to love. On this weekend of protest, and there's a very interesting tweet by Planned Parenthood and Democratic Socialists of America out of New York that I can't wait to share with you. That's some people are saying this is Democratic Party's campaign slogan for the midterms. It doesn't matter; they're all in bed together. And then our last segment, we're going to cover. Abolish ICE. Abolish ICE. And I've got some audio clips from Senator Gillabrand that are just going to make your jaw drop. So anyways, Mark Janus is a plaintiff in the court case versus AFSCME. It's basically the Americans Federations of county employees, state employees, blah blah this, blah blah that. Well, Mark is a government employee in the state of Illinois, which, if you listen to this show on a regular basis over the last year, timeout side note, July 6th I'll be 1 year with Lantern. So woo, yeah! You never know, but there might be a special video that comes out that I haven't decided. I even took the day off from work. That's how important it is to me. Anyways, as you've heard many pundits talk about, Illinois is in a state of decline financially. Their pensions are out of control. Chicago public schools are out of control. I mean, it's just progressive policy after progressive policy that are trying to bankrupt that state. And a state like this doesn't go to these financial situations overnight. And as the Washington Post is reported, is reported as Sunday, early Sunday, and the article's titled, "Why I Took My Case over forced union dues to the Supreme Court. And me personally, I have a dog in this fight. I have some skin in this game. I am a public employee union. Well, I wouldn't say member. I am a public employee fee payer. I like that. I like that. So, he was sick of paying the mandatory fee that unions force. And like me, I hate paying the $86 a month to this union that I'm part of that doesn't represent what I stand for, doesn't represent what I want, and I'm more than glad to speak on my own behalf, because I can tell you the only one that can speak on my behalf is myself and God. Okay? That's it. That's it. I mean, if you just look back within the last year, Illinois would be the first state to get its credit rating downgraded to junk status. I mean, that was what people were talking about. That's what they were thinking. I mean, and a lot of the municipal employees union lobby were advocating to raise taxes. I mean, there's 35,000 state employees. And an average 1.6 million per state employee with their benefits, pension. And this is reported by the Illinois Policy Institute. So Mark is just kind of like me. I'm someone that is willing to switch my pension over to a 401k so I can manage it. I can be aggressive. I can be less aggressive. I can add more of what I want to. Okay? I'm in Oregon. The state of Oregon is already in a heck of a disaster for budget-wise in the next biennium. I mean, that's what Kate Brown and Newt Bueller, Kate Brown's our current governor, and Newt Bueller is the state legislature, got the Republican nominee, that's what they're battling over. Oh, friend of Common Sense Radio, Representative Julie Parrish, has introduced bills to make public employees pay more to their retirement, pay more for their health insurance. My hands up. I'm all for it. We can't continue down this path. We can't keep kicking the buck down the road. And being who I am, I will fight the fight. I'm right here at first. I want to be the first one in line to do this. But back to this article. He quote Mark is, "I would gladly forego my annual raise because it's more important to me that the state gets its financial house in order. I would happily have my pension converted into a 401k instead of piling more obligation onto bankrupt pension fund. But I haven't had a choice about either of these, and I've been forced to pay for a private organization that I don't want to be a member of to negotiate for things I don't believe in." End quote. And like I just told you, that's exactly how I feel. But this is what the union would tell me, and this is what the union has told Mark. Union leaders said, if I did have a choice, quit my job. Agree with the union or quit my job as a government worker. Think about that for a minute. To be a government worker, you have to agree with and fund a private organization you disagree with. You are forced to contribute to mandatory fees. How does that sound like? How does that sound legitimate? I mean, how does that sound in your head reasonable? I mean, I've got to drink to that. I mean, people are going back to I believe it's the Abu case, and they're trying to say this is settled, 1977. Why are government unions so cozy with the government? Because the forced union dues, the mandatory union dues. When I was hired, I was not into politics. I didn't know. I was a young buck. It was 9 years ago. So I was 25. I was a baby still. Knew nothing about what was going on in life. Oh, condition of your employment is paying these union dues is how I understood it. Oh, okay. Knew nothing about a union. Nothing. I grew up in Virginia, as you know. And oh, it's amazing to me. And whenever I started getting in political, and look at me now, 8 years later, or no, 9 years later, I'm July 27th will be 9 years. I'm part of the quote unquote media. I hate to use that term, but I'm here reporting. I call myself a reporter, an independent reporter who works for Lanterns. But to me, it's so important that people have the freedom. If you want to join a union, join a union. Public employee unions membership has to be opt-in. That's not with the ruling. It has to be opt-in. It shouldn't be you have to be forced to opt out, because that's so easy to slide under the rug so people can't realize. I'm over at the ChicagoTribune.com with another article that I just found fascinating. 5 things to know about Illinois state government employee Mark Janus and his Supreme Court victory. You know, they want to talk about him a little bit. You know, he's 65 years old, so he had nothing to lose. You know, I'm willing to be the scapegoat if I had to in the state of Oregon. I know my wife completely doesn't want me to, but I'm willing to for the greater good of everybody, because this was a very important decision. Unions have a grip on a flow each year. I mean, look at the state of Illinois. 35,000 people are paying their union dues each month. Mandatory. I'd like to see how many people would like to pay those after this case and when they're not forced to. So why did he sue? Well, I mean, that's pretty... I mean, I don't even have to look at the article. I could tell you right off... these are bullet points. Right off the top of my head. Why he sued? Because he wants his First Amendment freedom to be able to spend his money where he wants and not support something, be forced to support something, and membership to something that he does not believe in. And I agree with that 100%. So what does politics have to do with it? It has everything to do with politics. I mean... big labor is funding a lot of politicians. I mean, it's case closed. I mean, that's not up for debate. They are an arm of the Democratic Party. You know it, and I know it. Actually, I would say more the Progressive Party. And it's not good. It's absolutely not good. Let me tell you a little example of people that I know that have been in a situation where the union is representing them in situations, and they're going in and talking about a situation, and the union person is so in bed with management, with the company or the public employee, that where the public employee works, that the union rep sits there like a lapdog, okay? And these reps get paid, you know, anywhere from $80,000 to $90,000 a year, but they only need one in their area. So, say for instance, you're representing different municipalities in the area. Say unions for city of this, city of that, city of that. I mean, that's one rep for that area that could cover half of the state. So those dues are going to one person to represent them. And that's where the agency fee had came up a lot. I saw over the weekend about, okay, well, shouldn't these people that are in these public employees be forced to pay these agencies fees for the collective bargaining, for representation, and on and on and on. Well, I can tell you 2 things. The representation, BS. Okay, I talked to a guy that I knew before he passed away, a really close friend of mine, and he was in a union, and he got a piece of metal in his eye and ended up losing it, and he got in trouble and all that. But before that, he had many violations of not wearing his eye protection, and that ultimately did him in with his eye. He didn't die because of that. He passed away for something else. But he said he went to a discipline meeting with a union rep, a Teamster union rep, and management went to pull out the papers, and the union rep went across the table, grabbed it, and said, "Give me that bleep paper." And the people on the other side of the table looked at him like he was nuts, and it ended it. In the climax that we live in right now, the climate, not the climax, sorry, not a little naughty there, but the climate that we live in right now, the political correctness, impossible to do that. We live in such a world that we can't offend people that you could never do anything like that. And collective bargaining, usually when these unions go up to negotiate to about collective bargaining, they do it every 2 to 3 years. I mean, some do it even longer, From my experience, it's been 2 or 3 years. So, I mean, yeah, they need a little bit of sources, but the amount of money that they're getting each year, I mean, you times 35,000. Just say, here, I'm going to pull up my nifty calculator on my computer. Just give me a second. And let's just say he's saying $45. Let's round it up to 50. 50 times 35,000. That'll give a few. That's $1.7 million for the one union each year in the state of Illinois. You can't operate off $1.7 million to collective for bargaining to represent. I mean, you have an employee that you pay, say, $80,000 a year. Say you have 5 that you pay $80,000 a year. That's $400,000. And you still got $1.3 million left? Come on, man. This is crazy. Sorry, like I said, I have a skin in this game, and it has me fired up. All this talk about people saying, "Oh, they're so anti-union." Well, no. The unions have made people anti-union. How many people want to be part of something that's mandatory that you have to pay? If you didn't have to pay property tax, would you pay them? No. If you didn't have to go to the DMV and pay your mandatory registration fees, would you pay them? If it was optional? Come on, man. Yeah. Jeez. I'll finish up this Chicago Tribune article. Is Janus anti-union? In his testimonial published on a website part of the Liberty Justice Center, Janus said he doesn't consider himself to be anti-union. I'm not anti-union either. He goes on to say, quote, "I don't begrudge anyone who wants to form a union or be part of a union," end quote. He wrote, quote, "But what is unfair and unconstitutional is forcing me and millions of other American workers to pay to advance policies we oppose just so we can serve our communities and our state," end quote. I agree 100%. So I have this montage that I'm going to play for you, and it's fantastic. I'm going to share it cut out and put on its own MP3 so it's easily shareable. But go ahead and take a listen to this. It's incredible.
The Supreme Court has just dealt a huge blow to organized labor.
It's scary to see how successful the anti-union propaganda has been throughout the years.
Some response to this ruling, which says you're just a tool of the billionaires and the wealthy, and that you're simply exploiting the situation, and that you, the rich, funded this movement. Mark Janus, will you comment on that?
Well, I think that's blatantly untrue. I think that's just a ploy, if you will, that the unions have made to try to, make their case.
That for a person to be forced to pay to a union whose political messages he may disagree with it violates his First Amendment rights not to have compelled speech, and therefore mandatory union fees are unconstitutional. The decision could have tremendous consequences. As you said, 23 states have these laws. They involve millions of employees and tens of millions of dollars.
The Constitution is kind of silent on both of those things, right? Whether unions can have political power or whether people have a right to collective bargaining.
It absolutely is. Of course, there were no unions at the time of the founding, but during the Progressive era, when unions really got up and running, there were plenty of laws passed by Congress in the states that required things like mandatory fees, and the Supreme Court never questioned any of them until today. And the liberal justices are saying the conservatives are using the First Amendment as a cudgel, basically to strike down regulations that they disagree with.
That government workers have the right to choose whether they're going to give any money to a public sector union.
And the Supreme Court in this ruling said it is unconstitutional for the union to force them to pay these dues.
And that's not an accident. That's what this conservative Supreme Court wants. They're the most pro-corporate court in United States history. They're going to whittle away the union's powers. They're already in terrible shape because of all the other rules that have been passed by the Republican Congresses and presidents.
It's about individual worker freedom or something broader than that?
Oh, I think it gives the individual worker in a public sector entity the right to make their own decision. And that's the basis for my case. That's what I've wanted all along. I don't want to be forced to pay something to somebody just to hold a government job. I want to make my own decision, and I shouldn't have to pay a fee just to do something that I like to do and that I enjoy to do.
So once again, shocking. They decided corporations are right. They should rule over all of us, and they should be unchallenged in their power.
Where we go from here is making sure that every state and every union respects workers' First Amendment right to decide whether they're going to fund a union. The unions, of course, are going to resist this as much as possible, and they probably have some friends in some state governments who are going to help them, but we're going to make sure that every worker is able to exercise that right to choose.
And Justice Kagan, in her dissent, said there was no justification for overturning the Abood decision, and this would dramatically disrupt our understanding of the relationship between unions and the government.
I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, I had fun putting that together. I had the Young Turks, I had MSNBC, and I had Mark Janus on Fox Business, whatever. It doesn't matter. It was hilarious, in my opinion, just to see what everybody was talking about with that. And it's funny how they try. A lot of people that oppose this Janus ruling, which I support 100%, we're trying to turn it and craft it to be about corporations owning things. If you heard Cenk on the Young Turks, he tried to turn it a little bit about, corporations are going to rule everything. No. What's important about this is it's public sector unions, which public funds, taxpayer funds, people are being mandatory to pay these union dues. I mean, it's crazy. Hey, you know what? I want you to tune in on the other side of the break. I'm going to have a lot to talk about. You will not want to miss it about the protests.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
In every rising of the sun, my purpose was to be thankful to be alive. I was even more thankful for the blessings that came with this life, specifically Virdis, my wife. But that came to an end when Akhlavain and her minions violently took her away from me. So my new purpose in this life is to gather all the pieces of the Stone's Heart so I can defeat Akhlavain and get back my bride. Join me as I travel to new worlds, making new friends and avoiding old enemies. Read more about my story in the first 2 books of the Stone's Heart series, which are now available on Amazon.com in Kindle format. The first book is The Quest for Savit Varda, and that is followed by The Heart of Pagaila. Stone's Heart is more than a fantasy and a sci-fi quest. It's me fighting to get back my precious wife, despite the overwhelming odds against me. Stone's Heart. Join, explore, and believe.
And welcome back to the program, folks. Hey, I'm here, AJ Davis from Common Sense Radio on Lanterns Radio Network, where we are here to fix the machine. Hey, do me a favor. If you're on Twitter, go. My Twitter handle is at Oregon Redskin, and Facebook is at Common Sense Radio. That's all you got to type in. Man, this weekend I was gearing up for the protest. I mean, the Families Belong Together March, the DSA, Abolish ICE marches, and I hate to tell you this, as my friend Matt Holloway would say, they're a big nothing burger. That's what they are. Oh man, New York City DSA, they're having fun. They're having fun in New York City. They are protesting to abolish ICE, abolish profit. They marched on the streets in support of the Families Belong Together march. That's exactly what was happening, in these big cities, and you only saw 3 or 4 pictures or small clips of videos. Together we fight for. Together we fight for what? Families together. Okay. Well, Planned Parenthood, my goodness, one of my favorite, and today's opposite day, favorite organizations. Oh, I despise them. Planned Parenthood is a disgusting organization. And they tweet out, "Together we fight for all. Hashtag Families Belong Together March." So I got to drink to that. I got to have a little bit of my Coors Light to that. I mean, I don't normally, but after this last news cycle, the last week and the week we have in front of me, I have to have a little Coors Light. I have to. I mean, where do I go with that tweet? What were the people at Planned Parenthood Action thinking? That's gold right there. That's gold. So I respond, tear families apart? Really? I mean, whew. Go over to my hat. I mean, I like to have fun. And you look at the comments and someone goes, "I admire Margaret Sanger enormously. Her courage, her tendency, her vision, and taking on attitudes and accusations flowing from all directions. And I'm really in awe of her. And there are a lot of lessons we can learn from her life." Yeah. I mean, people are having just meme after meme on "you're a monster." Oh my gosh. But it's like, honestly, back to it. Together we fight for all. Fight for all the babies that are being aborted, the 60 million. Are we for them? I mean, I am. I don't care if they have Down syndrome. I don't care if they have something. I cherish every form of life. To me, it's the sanctity of life is so important. But let me tell you about these protests. Pardon me. The protests are happening because school is out. Did you notice how many protests happened when school was in session? I believe a lot of it is a lot of teachers who are off for summer vacation. I believe it's also high school students, middle school students that are out of school. I mean, I'm not saying completely it's all them, but a lot of them are out of school right now, and I definitely believe that that's contributing to why you're seeing your big nothing burger over the weekend. I mean, here in Oregon, we had what's that group called? Patriot Prayer. They're kind of in Northwest. I don't know if they're all over. I don't follow them. Only when they're in the news. They had a permit for Portland, here in Keep Portland Weird area, and they were protesting, and Antifa came up and they had to shut down, revoke their permit. I don't know what they had. They had to shut down their walk to a park. Again, it's Portland. I try to stay far away from it. There's kind of crazy people there, and their actual permit was revoked because of Antifa, who were causing violence. I saw an article in KATU where a bus had pulled up to drop off more people of Patriot Prayer, and they had to send the bus off for safety reasons. But Antifa isn't an issue. They seem to really come out and cause havoc, cause terror to people. I mean, like Martin Luther King's nonviolent protest. Maybe Maxine Waters really hit a nerve with people. What do you think? Think about that. Well, the next thing I want to cover is the abolish ICE. And like I talked about, the Democratic Socialists of New York City is over at the Daily Wire. On Saturday, thousands of leftists, apparently unaware that the Trump administration reversed an order separating children from their illegal immigrant parents while their parents awaited an asylum hearing at the United States and Mexico border, gather in major cities to decry immigration enforcement. Maybe the Trump administration should have took a bigger role in showing that edict. See, that's the thing. No matter what he does, and I'm gonna call balls and strikes when they're here. Call blue, call red. High, low. You name it. I'm gonna call a low strike on you, President Trump. You've got to communicate that a little bit better. I mean, but then you go back and you say he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't. I mean, I feel like that for him. The guy cannot catch a break no matter what he tries to do. Oh. Let me play this. Let me play this wonderful clip for you. It's Senator Gillabrand from New York City, and she was on Como.
She's also got some positions that are even to the left of Bernie Sanders. She wants to get rid of ICE. Now, what are you going to do with your party if you do come into a majority and you have a significant number, or at least an influence, of people who have that kind of a position?
Yeah. Well, I agree with it. I don't think ICE today is working as intended.
Well, you think you should get rid of the agency?
I believe that it has become a deportation force. And I think you should separate the criminal justice from the immigration issues. And I think you should reimagine ICE under a new agency with a very different mission and take those two missions out. And so we believe that we should protect families that need our help, and that is not what ICE is doing today, and that's why I believe you should get rid of it, start over, reimagine it, and build something that actually works.
All right.
Reimagine ICE. Get rid of it, reimagine it. So instantly when I got that, I had to go to ice.gov/about. Overview. ICE executes its mission through the enforcement of more than 400 federal statutes and focuses on smart immigration enforcement, preventing terrorism and combating the illegal movement of people and trade. Okay. That's the thing that people on the right, the main focus for me. I understand that they're coming from countries that have major poverty, civil wars, but you have to do it the right way. You have to go to the consulate. I mean, is it time for us to help with consulate reform? I mean, I don't know. If we have to have a proper way, we have to have laws to come in. And one thing that I think that people are missing is the consulate. I mean, I had a conversation with a person from Costa Rica, and she's supportive of the situation going on, and we've talked about things via Facebook, face to face, and my opinion is very clear. I do not want to see these children down at the border being taken advantage of. I don't want to see them hurt. I don't want to see them away from their family. But we have to do things by the law. We can't just sugarcoat things. We have to follow the law. And if some of these situations that were happening, that have been reported, where people were being hurt, abused, things like that, we need to fix that. I saw just this weekend, and it's the World Wide Web, the interwebs, which isn't always accurate, but the thing that we want to talk about is the illegal movement of people. I saw a video, and I'm sure you all saw it's all over Facebook, about a mom trying to hug the kid, the supposed mom, and they were saying that this lady was a trafficker, and the kid had to have been anywhere from 3 to 5 years old. I mean, that's why we have to do things like that. I mean, with the ICE, we have to prevent trafficking. Sexual trafficking is one of the largest crimes in the United States. It's devastating. It breaks your heart. I mean, I heard a story, or I saw a person on Facebook of someone that I know, that I go to church with, that I was, did Bible study with before. And she was at a Costco in a rougher area, and a lady came up to her, and she asked her if she wanted to see Mother God. And she said, I don't want to quote verbatim, but she almost said when someone brings up God, she wanted to listen and see what they had to say, because she tries to listen. Well, she heard Mother God, she had a gut feeling God was there telling her not to engage with this person. Didn't like it. And she said she was walking around the Costco, and there was a guy that was like, almost, she felt was following her. That it made her feel very uncomfortable. So she got her stuff, was in line, and she was in line for 40 minutes, and she saw this person, and she thanks God for keeping her in that line for 40 minutes, because she went home, called her husband right away, mother of 3 kids, and she Googles Mother God, and there was actually, I'm going to Google it right now, because I'm going to Mother God, and see, the thing that comes up is trafficking, Mother God trafficking. Yep, that's the top of Google. There's 1.1 million God the Mother trafficking square in the Equinox. See? So she's thanking God today, because that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. And if you think it doesn't happen, and maybe it wasn't at Costco, I think it was at a Walmart, but besides that's potato, tomato. Anyways, it's important that we are focusing on these laws. We're focusing on doing things the right way, the moral way, the just way, and by the law, so we can prevent any trafficking that goes on. I know the legal methods to seek asylum and not seeking is difficult. But that's why I said earlier we need to focus on the consulate. We need to focus on things that are great, like E-Verify. We have to protect America. And I'm not saying we don't want immigrants coming in. We're a nation of immigrants. I mean, I think it's something like 1 million legal immigrants every day or every year. They celebrate at work. I see emails that come out about legal citizens. That's wonderful. That's the right way to come about. Bravo. I'm supportive of you. It's wonderful. But when we have a United States Senator on a national TV publication talking about abolishing ICE, reimagining ICE, well, what would you reimagine it to? You tell me. What are you going to reimagine ICE to? Are you going to reimagine it to people that are just driving their trucks on the border that are going to get paid off by the cartel to traffic people, to traffic drugs in, traffic guns in? I mean, you tell me. Tell me, Senator Gillabrand. What are you going to do? No, she's too worried about. Listen to this clip. This will tell you what she's so worried about. Listen to this.
Are you right that he didn't get one vote? Didn't he get three? Didn't he get Manchin?
He got no Democratic votes.
He didn't get Manchin, Heitkamp?
He did not. They stood strong, and they passed it with Republican votes.
Oh, I thought he got 3, by the way.
You might be right, Chris, but I believe this Democratic caucus will stand together because you're really deciding whether or not you value women and you want them to have basic civil rights and civil liberties.
Yeah. See, she's worried about her team. What they were discussing right there was the new Democratic Socialist 28-year-old candidate for the Democratic Party out of New York. His views. I don't even want to talk about her, to be honest with you. That's why I want to talk about Gillabrand. It's astonishing. And it's not just her. It's everybody on their team. That's what they care about. Their team. That's all they're pushing about. And right there they were talking about the vote for Neil Gorsuch for Supreme Court Justice. And whoo! Is this going to be fun? I mean, Neil Gorsuch and President Trump has given himself till July 9th is when he's give his timeline, but that's when he's going to announce his pick. And personally, I hope he picks the Lady Barrett. I think she's from Indiana. She seems the youngest. She's Catholic, so I'm not Catholic, but I can support a woman of faith, no doubt. All right, let's see. What else do we have on the agenda? Oh, this is a good one. This is reported from the Blaze. This has to deal with law enforcement. Report: Seattle police flee city in mass exodus over city's liberal anti-police politics. Nearly 4 dozen police officers have resigned from Seattle PD this year. And I wouldn't say it's their liberal policies. I would say it's progressive policies, because they had people who are running as avowed socialist, democratic socialists, and in the future we're going to do a special about democratic socialists, because I'm doing some research on it, and I found some clips that are just going to it's just making my head shake right now, because I was listening to them today, and I'm just like, woo. And the Northwest, everybody's making a mass exodus from California and moving up to Oregon, Washington, Seattle. You know, that area. It's skyrocketing the population, so you're going to need more police. And it's sad. Also, another thing you look at, I think it was within the last month or so, a report came out of Seattle for how much money they're spending to clean up the homeless population. It was more than San Francisco. Yeah. They've not seen the Seattle police officers have not seen a pay raise in more than 3 years. So of course they're leaving. Unsafe working conditions. They're not getting any pay. I mean, 79 officers have left the force in 2017. 2017, and they've hired or they've recruited 102 new officers. And we're talking, this is July 2nd. So you just split that in half. They're still short police officers. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to help? You've got to get out on the streets and work with people that have common sense. Get on your city council, your mayor, and all your other legislative priorities. You have to. I mean, I have connected with, like I said, friend of the program, Representative Julie Parrish, and I try to stay in contact with her on a regular basis. If it's not every week, it's every couple weeks to talk about what's going on down at the legislature. And we have a good friendship. You need something like that in Seattle. You need someone with common sense. Someone that is not going to put a target on the back of the police. Someone that's going to be fiscally responsible. I'm battling that in my own area, in my own city. That I've become a pariah because I speak up so much. And sometimes it drives my wife nuts, but I cannot stop fighting for what I believe in and what's true and what's right. I will fight every city bond that these local municipalities, especially in my area, put up when we have third world roads, when we have $6.7 million in debt in this small little town of 2,000 people. And this is from their own website. You know, so I imagine what kind of debt Seattle's, and I understand the police there. I mean, they're looking at their pensions, or especially the people that are getting ready to retire. And I bet you the ones that are sticking around are the ones that are so close to retirement, so they can, you know, a year or two, I just can suck it up, and then we can beat feet, honey. We can just get out of here. That's sad for them. So, I mean, I'm in the Northwest. I'm calling on the people of Seattle. Hold your elected officials accountable. Hold them accountable. That's the only way for change. And if you didn't see the helicopter that breaks free from jail, a dramatic French gangster, France's most famous gangster, on Sunday made a spectacular jailbreak with the help of 3 heavily armed accomplices who landed in his jail in a helicopter and flew out with him on board. Riyadon Fayyad was being visited by his brother in the prison in the Paris region when the men burst into the room on Sunday morning and extracted him. Man, if there's a video on that, I would love to find it. If anyone finds it before I do, send it to me. I mean, and this is not the first time that he's been broken out of jail. Before, he was broken out of jail with dynamite. Oh, man. And it was 2013, about 5 years ago, whenever he did that. He took 4 wardens hostage before being recaptured 6 weeks later. So is he going to break his 6-week mark of being free? I don't know. Think about that for a second. And they're calling it a spectacular jailbreak. I mean, just to break out once, but twice to break out of jail? My goodness. I mean, he was serving 25 years. I mean, He's quoted as being inspired by U.S. films such as Scarface and Heat. Whew, man. So what happened was a helicopter flew right across the Paris region from the jail southeast and drops into the courtyard. These 3 armed guards break him out, and the helicopter pilot was like a trainee pilot, and they get him out and they take him out of there. I'm wondering if the French prisons don't have any weapons. Because I'm telling you what, if it was me and you're in the United States and you're dropping a helicopter, you got the cojones to do that? I'm taking out a propeller. I'm taking out the engine. I'm taking someone's leg out. I guarantee you I'm doing that. They get him out. They fly him out, get him to a getaway vehicle, and then go to a parking garage and shift him over, and he's out. He's out. He's out there running, on the run now. He's going to have to get out of the country. That's the only way to be safe. There's no way he can't get out of the country or he's going to be safe. And the helicopter ended up crashing. Oh, man. Oh, man. What a week. What a news cycle. I know I listened to Ben Shapiro and he says that, but the last week has just been a heck of a news cycle. And this week is going to be something. You got, like I said, Independence Day. You got a year that I've been with Lanterns. Whew, man, it's been great. It's been a great year. It's been some ups. There's been a lot of learning that I've done with this year. It was getting better at behind the microphone, getting better technical. And the sky's the limit for the future for me. And I'm so excited about the future of this program. I really am. And if any of you have any suggestions, I mean, you see me on Twitter, you see me on Facebook. I'm trying to be more active on I need to come up with a Instagram account for this program, because Instagram is actually the hot new social media. And you know what? I'm going to definitely create something. It might take me a little while to figure out how to get it, because I have my own personal account and I need to get one created for Common Sense Radio. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do, because then I'll have my phone everywhere and reporting and just load it up there. I love it. Hey, I want you all to have a great week. God bless you. God bless the United States, and happy 4th of July. You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.